Story 1. The Stranger in the Fog. The road ahead was a void, swallowed by the dense fog that seemed to materialize out of nowhere. I had driven this stretch 100 times, but tonight, nothing looked familiar. The glowing beams from my headlights barely penetrated the mist, casting eerie shadows on the towering trees that lined the road. It was supposed to be a simple drive home after dinner with friends. The clock on my dashboard ticked past midnight, and I found myself gripping the steering wheel tighter than usual. My GPS had lost its signal miles back, and the road twisted and turned with unsettling unpredictability. That's when I saw it. A figure standing on the shoulder of the road. I slowed to a crawl, the rhythmic thud of my tires the only sound in the night. The figure was hunched, wearing a tattered coat and holding a small sign. Squinting, I tried to read it as I passed. "Help me." My foot hesitated on the brake. Picking up a stranger in this kind of weather went against every horror movie warning I'd ever seen. But as I glanced in my rearview mirror, I saw the figure collapse onto their knees. Against my better judgment, I pulled over. Rolling down the window slightly, I called out, "Are you okay?" The figure rose slowly, their face obscured by the fog. I couldn't tell if it was a man or woman, but their voice was soft, pleading. "Please, take me with you. It's not safe here." Against my instincts, I unlocked the passenger door. The figure climbed in without a word, their head bowed. They shivered violently, despite the heat blowing from my vents. "What's going on?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. The stranger turned slightly, their face still shadowed. "It follows. It always follows." My heart sank. "What follows?" They didn't answer. Instead, they leaned forward, peering into the fogged windshield. "Drive, now." The urgency in their voice sent a jolt of fear through me. I pressed the accelerator. The road seemed endless, with no signs, no turns, just an unrelenting stretch of fog. "Do you see it?" the stranger whispered. I didn't want to look, but my eyes darted to the mirrors. Something was there, a hulking, shadowy mass moving unnaturally fast. It wasn't a car. It wasn't an animal. The stranger began to shake, mumbling prayers under their breath. "Don't stop. No matter what you hear, don't stop." As the shadow gained on us, the car shuddered violently, like something had latched onto it. A deafening screech filled the air, and the temperature inside dropped to an icy chill. "Keep going!" the stranger screamed. I floored it, the engine roaring in protest. The shadow receded into the mist, but the sense of dread lingered. When I finally dared to glance at the passenger seat, it was empty. The door was locked. There was no trace of anyone ever being there. I didn't stop driving until the sun broke through the fog, and the familiar signs of home appeared. But I'll never forget the chilling words the stranger left behind. "It always follows." Story 2. The Endless Loop. I'd heard the warnings about Old Ridge Road, but I never believed them. People claimed the fog there was alive, trapping travelers in a never-ending loop. It sounded like campfire nonsense. But tonight, as I drove through the oppressive mist, I started to wonder if there was some truth to it. The fog wrapped around my car like a suffocating blanket, silencing everything except the hum of my engine. My headlights illuminated the cracked asphalt for a few feet before the world dissolved into a gray haze. I had been driving for an hour, maybe more. It didn't make sense. I should have reached the highway by now. Yet every bend in the road led me back to the same broken-down gas station with its flickering neon sign that read, "Open." The first time I passed it, I thought nothing of it. The second time, I felt a prick of unease. By the third time, I couldn't ignore the truth. I was stuck. Pulling into the gas station, I stepped out, the cold dampness of the fog clinging to my skin. The place was deserted. The windows were grimy, and the pumps looked like they hadn't worked in years. "Hello?" I called out, my voice swallowed by the mist. A figure emerged from the fog, startling me. It was an older man, wearing a faded uniform and a crooked smile. "Lost, aren't you?" "Yeah," I admitted. "I've been driving in circles. How do I get out of here?" The man chuckled, a dry, rasping sound. "Ain't no getting out once the fog takes you." I laughed nervously. "Come on, there's gotta be a way. Can you point me in the right direction?" His smile faded. "The fog doesn't like to let go, but maybe you'll get lucky." I didn't stick around to hear more. Getting back into my car, I drove off, determined to escape. But the road was relentless. I passed the gas station again and again. Each time, the fog grew thicker, the world outside my car darker. The fifth time, I noticed something new. A figure stood by the station, a version of me, staring blankly as I drove past. My stomach turned. By the seventh loop, the figure was in the middle of the road, blocking my path. I slammed on the brakes, skidding to a stop. It was me. Not just a reflection, but an exact copy, wearing the same clothes, with the same terrified expression. "Let me in," they said, their voice hollow. I locked the doors and reversed, my tires screeching. The figure didn't move, but I swear I felt their gaze burning into me as I sped away. The gas station came into view again. This time, my car began to sputter. The fuel gauge was empty, even though I had filled up earlier. The last thing I remember before the engine died was the fog creeping closer, swirling through the vents, filling the car. Now I'm here, standing outside the gas station, watching another car pull up. It's me behind the wheel, staring back with the same desperation I felt hours, or was it days, ago. The fog doesn't let go.